Good morning and welcome to Laugh It Off, how therapeutic humor can work for you and your communities with Mallori and Lodge McCammon. This presentation was prepared for the Great Lakes PTTC under a cooperative agreement from the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration. The opinions expressed in this webinar are the views of the speakers and do not reflect the official position of the Department of Health and Human Services or SAMHSA. The PTTC believes that words matter and uses affirming language in all activities. Well, thank you again for joining us and share a few housekeeping items. If you have technical issues, please individually message Rebecca Buller or Jen Winslow in the chat section at the bottom of your screen, and we will be happy to assist you. If captions or live transcript would be helpful, please use your Zoom toolbar near the bottom of your screen to enable by going to the More section, select Captions, and then Show Captions. Questions for the speaker should be put into the Q&A section, which is also at the bottom of your screen. You will be directed to a link for a short survey at the end of this presentation. We would appreciate it if you could fill it out. It takes just about 3 minutes and helps us continue to provide trainings like this. Certificates of attendance will be sent out via email to all who attended the full session. It can take up to 2 weeks. Be sure to take time to connect with us on social media. And now, let me introduce our presenters. Mallori is a licensed mental health counselor, an internationally certified prevention specialist, motivational interviewing trainer, and a certified humor professional. As a speaker and trainer, she has sparked curiosity in both young and the young at heart. Her passion for creating a lasting impact led her to the public health field, and for the past 14 years, she has worked at Prevention Insights, a center within the School of Public Health at Indiana University in Bloomington. Mallori works with people all over the world. She served on the board of directors for the Association for Applied and Therapeutic Humor, and in 2021 became a TEDx speaker. Her credentials don't impress her family, but occasionally her corny jokes do make them laugh. Lodge McCammon, or Dr. Lodge McCammon, is a therapeutic humorist, instructional designer, author, musician, and international education consultant who provides professional services, including keynote speeches, workshops, curriculum development, and a variety of training programs. He works with school districts, universities, nonprofits, and businesses such as Palm Beach Schools, University of West Indies, Discovery Education, Microsoft, Amazon, the Coca-Cola Company. Most recently, Lodge facilitated a month of therapeutic humor for the Nourished Teachers Community, which is a Facebook-funded initiative focused on helping educators cope with work stress and avoid burnout. He uses a program that he designed called Laugh It Off to help his clients transform their daily frustrations into humor. Mallori and Lodge will also be joined by Chris Gabrielson, co-director of the Great Lakes PTTC, an all-around great person to present our training material today. Thank you, and we'll turn things over to our presenters.
Wonderful. Rebecca, thank you so much for having us. Thank you for that wonderful introduction. And thank you all for being here and for joining us. Very excited. And we have a question for you to kick this off. What's in a name? And that's actually an activity too. So we would like to invite you to decide on an absurd name. We're going to be doing a lot of absurdity in the next 90 minutes. We're going to be focusing on that word quite a bit. To come up with an absurd name that you would like to go by during this workshop. So here are some ways to come up with absurd names. So you can take a title plus a favorite food. So, Mallory, what would your absurd name be if you took a title plus a favorite food?
My absurd name would be Queen Double Stuff Oreo.
Okay. Queen Double Stuff Oreo. And you can go ahead and if you want to
Yep.
change your name or add that to your name in Zoom, we want
Got it
to
right now.
keep our perfect. So now Mallory DeSalle dash Queen Double Stuff. I like it. So we want to make sure we don't change our name fully so you get credit for the webinar that you're in. We could just add the name to that. That's fine. Or another way to do this is a pet's name plus a piece of clothing plus the word bottom. So I'm going to do that one. And I'm going to go, let's see, I'm going to change my name or add my name. Let's see. So Lodge McCammon, and then I'm going to go, my first dog's name was D'Artagnan. And so I'm going to go D'Artagnan Sock Bottom. You can call me, you can just call me Sock Bottom though. Okay. Anyway, so, or you can make up your own name if you don't want to follow those guidelines. So Chris, welcome. Hello. Thank you so much for joining us. We're going to have a great time. Chris, what is your absurd name? What did you come up with?
I came up with Captain Hawaiian Pizza.
Captain Hawaiian Pizza. What is that? Pineapple and Canadian bacon, right?
Bacon, which I realize really offends some people.
Yes.
But, I love Hawaiian pizza.
I love it too. I love it too.
Starting it off.
I would never eat it, but I love it. I would love it. Yeah, wonderful. And if you want to change, you already did. So Chris changed her name to Chris dash and then her absurd name. Wonderful.
Beautiful. The audience is already doing it as well. So we invite you, if you haven't already, put your name in the chat, put it in there, your absurd name, and also start looking at them. Check out all the absurd names that are coming in through the chat. Oh my goodness, Madam Chipotle. Well, Director Enchiladas, I need you and Wizard Taco to know that the work that we are bringing all of you has solid empirical foundations. We want to share a few of those citations with all of you up front to demonstrate that we're serious about humor and laughter. But before we do that, I would like to tell you a story. I was in Vegas for a wedding a few days ago, and after each line of the vows, the officiant said, "Oh yeah." I thought it was very funny. So I invite you, Lodge, Chris, to always drop an "oh yeah" after each of the research statements. Lodge, why don't you give it a try?
Okay, hold on. What's my motivation? Okay, no, I got
Vegas wedding.
Okay.
Okay. Mhm.
Humor and laughter help maintain well-being by reframing stressful events. Oh, yeah.
Humor can also change the regular patterns created by past discomforts, which can produce a shift in perspective and a desirable transformation. Oh, yeah.
All right. Comedy increases social engagement and improves retention of information. Oh, yeah.
All right, let me see if I can do something. Okay, laughter can serve as a social reward that reinforces behavior and conveys affiliation and can communicate social norms. Oh, yeah.
Humor can function to reinforce the solidarity of groups. However, it can also segregate community or a coalition member who is not a part of the in crowd. Oh, yeah?
And humor can create connections that help decrease loneliness. Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Humor is useful. I should be clicking through these slides, shouldn't I? I got lost
Oh, yeah.
in my own excitement. Oh, yeah. Humor is useful for building rapport with groups like coalitions and in relationships with key stakeholders, and it can reduce concern. Oh, yeah.
Humor can be used to help communicate difficult issues and cope with challenges. And though prevention is focused on delaying challenges, It can be useful in primary, secondary, and tertiary aspects of our work. Oh, yeah.
All right. Well, one study showed when a person laughed for 30 minutes, there were significant physical and mental benefits. Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Using humor and laughter directly after experiencing a stressful situation produces a reduction in stress hormones and creates lasting positive feelings. In fact, when practicing humor, like we are about to do here over the next little while, muscles become more relaxed, breathing changes, and the brain releases endorphins, which are the body's natural painkillers. Oh, yeah.
Having a sense of humor and being quick to laugh can have both psychological and physiological benefits. I mean, imagine how powerful it would be to include humor in your work with the youth, families, and professionals you collaborate with in your community. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so we went through some of this empirical evidence. We like to start off with this so we have a very strong why. Why are we doing this? Why is this helpful? What's the background? So transitioning slightly, we're going to do a quick boundary statement and then talk about psychological safety briefly, because comedy is an interesting, or especially comedy and humor is especially interesting idea these days. So with that in mind, let's begin with a paradox, which is a situation that has contradictory features to it. So humor and laughter are desperately needed today for all the reasons we just explored, all the research there. Though, in conflict to that, humor and laughter are extremely risky today. And I think you know what I mean by that.
I do. Therapeutic humor, though, isn't about us delivering a joke and telling you what is funny. If we do that, then we're likely to alienate a large percentage of any audience, especially these days. It's more about us inviting you to find your own funny. Evoking humor can safely help everyone access more joy in life.
So a bit on psychological safety. We have done our best to design an open and positive learning environment for you today. Our goal is to create a safe and supportive space where everyone can make jokes and be creative at their own pace. We will not be making jokes that other or punch down. Instead, we will be exploring the warm, healing, and absurd side of humor.
We believe that it's important to uphold a learning culture that embraces error and experimentation without the fear of penalty, and to establish psychological safety for all participants. Therapeutic humor can be a stepping stone towards creating psychological safety, and we look forward to modeling that through our collaboration and inclusion today.
Wonderful. Okay, so that's sort of some housekeeping. Now, during this webinar, we are going to invite Chris, hello again, to be our volunteer so we can explore some humor exercises together. We will also be inviting you, everybody out there, to play along in the chat. So everything we ask Chris to do, keep in mind that we're also asking you to do that and add your ideas to the chat as we come in. So we're going to do a lot of practicing, a lot of back and forth, a lot of exploration, a lot of that evoking.
We are going to do some warm-up activities and then engage in a series of therapeutic exercises. First, let's ask for permission. Chris, would it be okay if we begin?
Yes.
All right.
Excellent. Okay, let's start the humor games. So we're going to kind of gamify this a bit. So we call it the humor games. One of the things we call it the humor games to play off the Hunger Games, of course, and that may the odds be ever in your favor. We changed that to may the odd be ever in your flavor. So some of this might seem a little odd. It's possible that we will be saying things and doing things and people will be contributing. And you may not think what they come up with is funny. You may not think what I come up with is funny. That's okay. It's about you finding your own funny and us providing you the platform and the exercises to make yourself laugh, to find more internal joy.
Absolutely. So the following humor exercise help us practice, easy for me to say, help us practice generating absurdity in any situation. Unexpected absurdity creates surprise that can spark laughter in ourselves and others.
Excellent. So let's jump right in. So Chris, the first thing we want to ask you to do, and everybody in the audience as well. So we want you to fill in the blank with your funniest idea here. So while Chris is working on this, again, everybody, please feel free to fill in the blank and put your joke in the chat. And you're basically finishing this sentence. Don't be part of the problem, be, and then we're trying to get at absurdity here. So the first thing you want to do is think of what would be an expected response. Expected responses are not usually funny. And once you have an idea of an expected response, then ponder what would be an absurd response. Something absurd is wildly unreasonable, and it creates a caricature of reality. And unexpected absurdity, a lot of times, that's the surprise that makes us and others laugh. So we want to practice plugging in absurdity. So Chris, what would be an expected response to this prompt?
So expected would be the solution.
Sure. Don't be part of the problem, be the solution. Exactly. So that's a great example of how expected responses are not funny. Now, now we want to challenge you to come up with an unexpected, absurd response. So we want to dismiss the expectation, the expected response, and come up with something wildly unreasonable that creates a caricature of reality. So Chris, lay one on us.
All right. So don't be part of the problem, be an ornery troublemaker.
I like that because I feel like that's me. Okay.
Yeah,
that's
you
good.
resemble that remark.
Yes,
I have
right.
to
Don't
say,
be part of the
I'm
problem.
loving the responses in the chat, though. They're
Okay,
fantastic.
well, wonderful. Let's jump into the chat, and we'll take turns reading jokes from the audience until one makes us laugh. And so Chris, why don't you go first?
All right. So don't be part of the problem, be a broccoli eater.
That's
See,
healthy. That's healthy. That's good. Positive humor. All right, Mallory, what do you got?
And I loved that one. So I'm glad you grabbed that one. Don't be part of the problem. Be a wave in the ocean.
Yes. I like it. I like it. It's very freeing. It speaks to not trying to have that illusion of control. Don't be part of the problem. Just go with the flow, man. I love it. Very good. All right. Let me do one. Don't be part of the problem. Be a turtle. I like that. I like that one. I'm going to try one more. You guys laughed at one. Hold on. Let's see. Don't be part of the problem. Be a cheese puff.
I like that one too.
I like that one.
Oh my gosh. Be bubble
super
wrap.
duper. Excellent. Okay. Are we ready to move on? Excellent job in the chat. More of that. Keep it coming. We're going to get more practice as we go along. Excellent work. Thank you.
Yes.
All right, Mallory, are you ready for this one?
Yep.
All
right. Chris, try this one. While Chris is working on this, please put your joke in the chat. Start with thinking about what would be the expected response, then twist it into the absurd. Chris, I want you to think about them. Where did you learn to dance like that? Me? Absurd. So Chris, what would an expected response be?
So I would say an expected response would be the McMinnville School of Dance.
Okay, absolutely. Not particularly funny. Is it accurate?
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Well,
so
actually, no, it doesn't exist, but it could be, right?
It could be. It could be.
funny, accurate if it was real. Let's try what would be an absurd response.
All right. So I learned to dance from Carlton Banks on reruns of the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
The Carlton.
Yeah.
It's not unusual to be loved by anyone.
All right. So
Da-da-da-da-da.
put it all together for us, Chris. Perform the whole joke.
Okay, where did you learn to dance like that? I learned from Carlton Banks on reruns of The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
It's not unusual.
And that's about how I dance. So that's really real.
Accurate.
Okay, let's jump into the chat and read
Yes.
some. So the frame is them. Where did you learn to dance like that? I'm gonna go first here.
Yeah,
I
good.
like. So them. Where did you learn to dance like that? Me, the subway.
Chris, you want to grab one?
Sure. Them. Where did you learn to dance like that? Me, Richard Simmons, sweating with the oldies. Oh, you got one.
All right. Them. Where did you learn to dance like that? Me. You can see me?
Oh. I'm gonna do one more if I can.
Yeah, yeah.
Where did you them? Where did you learn to dance like that? Me, the army.
Left.
Wonderful. Does anybody have y'all want to do
I
another
love
one
it.
or
I love it.
I'll do
Oh.
one.
Okay.
Them. Where did you learn to dance like that? Me, avoiding Legos on the floor.
Yes.
that's
Every
a
parent
good one.
can identify with that.
Oh, yes.
That's good. Mallory, you have one more?
Okay, let's see. Them. Where did you learn to dance like that? Me. The 80s.
That's a good one. That's a really good one. I love it. I gotta write that
awesome.
one down. That
Yeah,
was really good.
save it.
Excellent.
Okay,
Excellent.
I think you're up next.
Oh, whew, sorry, I'm catching my breath here. All
I
right.
know.
All right, next. Let's try another one.
Okay.
Now, these are called what we call absurdity training. It's basically just trying to manufacture and find and locate and practice absurdity in any situation. And once we develop this skill and develop the absurd lens, it helps us find a lot more humor in life very, very quickly. So these skills are critical, important, and we're building them right now. So well done, everybody. Let's try this one. Or Chris, here we go. It's not what you know, it's... So what's the expected here? And then we'll walk into the absurd.
So the expected be, it's what you can prove.
Oh.
Okay, it's not what you know, it's what you can prove. A lawyer
Mhm.
statement.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay.
And while Chris is coming up, go ahead and drop in the audience, start writing your joke and drop it in the chat, and we'll read some of those in a moment. But yes, Chris, what would be absurd?
All right. It's not what you know, it's how well you can fake it.
It's really good, and it's true. I mean, look at me right now. I mean, that's
Oh my goodness.
that's wonderful. All right, Chris, you want to jump into the chat?
Yes. So it's not what you know, it's how much you have forgotten.
There you go.
That's good. That's good. Maybe slightly expected. Maybe. Not what you know.
Yeah,
No,
maybe.
that's funny. That's funny.
Yep. Okay. How about it's not what you know, it's how you dance.
Oh, a callback.
Call back.
Callback. Nice. Okay. Let me do one. Let's see. Oh gosh, these are all good.
So
Let's
good.
see. Sorry, can I do bathroom humor? No.
No.
There's nothing
not
wrong
what
with
you know.
bathroom humor. I'm just not going to read it. It's not what you know. It's what you drink.
And I like this one. It's not what you know, it's DiGiorno.
It's DiGiorno. It's not what you know. It's DiGiorno.
It's
Oh, that's a
DiGiorno.
good. I love it. That's very funny.
Here's a similar one. It's not what you know, it's a me Mario.
It's a me Mario.
Yeah,
It's a
I
me
did not
Mario.
get the accent right at all. There you go.
Oh, Chris, try it again with the accent. I want to hear you do the accent.
Oh, I'm so bad at accents though. Okay. It's not what you know. It's a me and Mario. See, I can't do accents. There's no way. This is when my teenage boys laugh hysterically at me, right? If I try.
Doing an accent and doing it not the best it can be done is funny itself. So
It's
thank you. That
fantastic.
was
Mhm.
wonderful.
I love it. Well,
Excellent. Let's push forward.
okay, so we're going to
Yeah.
make things a little more challenging. This next exercise is asking you to fill in multiple blanks.
Hold on. I'm
Expect-
sorry. One
Oh.
second. I
Ready?
have to read this one. It's not what you know, it's what you read on Twitter.
Very good.
Nailed it. It's what
Very
Elon
good.
Musk.
All right.
Love it.
That's good. Nice job,
Love
Shelly.
it. Okay, well, now we're ready for the multi-blank challenge. So expected, then absurd. In comedy, the rule of three is also called the comic triple. The third element of the triple is often used to create an element of surprise and is frequently the punchline of the joke. One of the ways to generate a surprise is to make sure elements 1 and 2 are expected. Then we break the expectation by making the third element absurd. So here's the prompt. There are 3 things I pride myself on. Expected, absurd. Okay, so we're coming to you first, Chris, and I invite folks to start typing things into the chat box. What you
So
got
when you
for
type
us,
in the
Chris?
chat box, do the list of 3.
All
So
3.
hit the expected, absurd, and then we'll read out some of those here in a little
Yes.
bit.
All right. So the 3 things I pride myself on are my organizational skills, my ability to listen well, and I didn't prepare this one, so I can't think of my absurd one. You didn't have my name on this to do this one, so can I phone in a friend?
I actually
or something?
I sort of love that that's your response, though. It's like, I'm organized, I prepare well, and I'm not prepared for all of this.
That's true.
Oh, that's good. So
Nailed it.
that's what we call actually a really good example. That's what we call a paradox joke. So paradox is considered the highest form of comedy, and paradox many times sounds like hypocrisy or that we're sort of undercutting ourselves. It's also a key feature in self-deprecation and self-deprecating humor. We would say, I'm organized, I'm professional, and I keep forgetting everything. So that's incongruence. Those things don't fit together. So what was your third again? What would we say?
And I completely did not prepare to answer this question.
Part of me wants it to be like, and I refuse to answer this. Yeah, but yeah. And I totally didn't prepare for this. I love
my
it.
goodness.
It's excellent.
I love that.
All right.
Let's go look at the chat to see what we're finding in there. Lodge, do you have one that's
There's
making
so
giggle?
many.
So many.
There's
Oh, I got one.
I have to like regulate. Okay, go ahead.
I got to look at this one. There are 3 things I pride myself on: kindness, tenacity, and who cares? Totally give up.
See, these are great paradoxes. Chris, do you have one?
Yes, there are 3 things I pride myself on: sharing, caring, and impending world dominance.
Fantastic.
Here's one from Rob. This is great. So there are 3 things I pride myself on: my spelling, my attention to detail, and not making mistakes.
Good.
Oh my goodness. Oh my gosh.
Oh, let's do another one. There's so many. Let's do another one.
Okay. How about this one? There are 3 things I pride myself on: eating healthy, working out, and being able to down a chocolate milkshake in 20 seconds.
Nice.
Sydney, I'm with you. Let's go to lunch after this.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I've got one. There are 3 things I pride myself on: my job, my family, and making sure my toilet paper is placed correctly on the roller.
Is it over or under?
Over,
Oh, definitely
better than
over.
under.
No, over.
Here,
We
I
started
think
it off with Hawaiian pizza that divides the country. Over versus under that divides.
We're just creating divisions everywhere we turn.
hey, humor is tricky these days. It's tricky these days. You can't even make a joke about toilet paper anymore. That's not true. Okay, I want to do this one. So Tracy, I think I'm going to modify the first word. I think so. There are 3 things I pride myself on: being on time, kindness, and believing pepperoni is a vegetable.
Like it.
I like it.
Oh my gosh. Well, I'm going to do this last one, and then I think
Yes.
we might be ready to go on.
Yep.
There are 3 things I pride myself on, which are my musical skills, my high earning job, and my ability to lie.
Oh, good.
Paradox.
Good.
That's a really great paradox joke. Yeah. So when we're confronted with others expressing internal conflicts, which are paradoxes, hypocrisy, ambivalences, double binds, anything that's like an internal conflict, that's like the bind that holds all of us together. All of us are confronted by endless internal conflicts. I love my girlfriend. Those types of things. I love having cats, but there's hair everywhere. Right. So we're constantly confronted. And when we see somebody else walk through an internal conflict or express it, we're very quick to laugh at that. That seems very freeing and sort of therapeutic. So that's one of the reasons why those paradox jokes are so powerful. Well done. All right. Are we ready to move on?
Yeah, let's do it.
Excellent. So is it my turn?
Your turn.
Okay, Chris, let's try this. It's a little bit different prompt. I don't know how many food items, plural, or food item, plural, it will take to be happy today. But so far, it's more than an absurd number, an unreasonable, ridiculous number. So Chris, what would you say there? We don't have to do the expected practice unless you would like to. We can just jump right into the absurd.
Okay.
And while Chris is working on this, put your ideas in the chat and we will read those momentarily.
All right. I don't know how many leftover Halloween candy bars it will take to make me to be happy today. But so far it's more than 32 and a half.
These are the mini ones? That's still a lot.
It's a combination.
Oh my goodness. I feel like I got to go to the chat box already.
Wait, hold one. Let me make a note real fast. So one of the really cool things Chris just demonstrated was the importance of specificity when we are telling jokes, when we're finding humor. Generally, the more specific, the funnier, especially if we're playing with absurdity. So Chris could have said, wait, what was your number again? 32
and a half.
32 and a half. So Chris could have said 32, and that's less funny than 32 and a half, because then now we get to play with this concept of, half a candy bar. Okay, that's funny. Okay, that's funnier than just a round number of 32. So keep that in mind as we start responding to more of these exercises, sort of the more absurdly specific. And it could be argued that 32.73 candy bars might even be funnier, because now we're like, who's measuring 0.73 of a candy bar? That's crazy. So keep that in mind as we move forward. Anyways, yes, jump in the chat.
Well, Holly is already jumping into this concept because she said, I don't know how many milk chocolate salted caramels it will take to be happy today, but so far it's more than 1,475.3.
Yeah, that's
0.3.
You're going to turn into one of those.
Yeah. Well, I like it. I like them a lot. I'm with you, Holly.
All right, Chris, do you have one?
I do. I don't know how many hot dogs it will take to be happy today, but so far it's more than 20 without the bun.
In parentheses, uncooked. Oh,
Oh, no, please.
No, too
oh,
far,
that's
too
the
far.
worst. Too far. Okay, let me do one here. I like this one because it's really simple. I don't know how many chips it will take to be happy today, but so far it's more than one.
I like it. I like it.
I think that's true. Oh my goodness.
Oh, okay. Do another one, Mallory.
Okay. I don't know how many Italian sub sandwiches it will take to be happy today, but so far it's more than 95 feet of an Italian
I like it.
That
That's
sounds
a lot
really
of
good.
meatballs. Yeah.
It's a
Oh,
me.
that's good.
Oh my gosh.
All right, I have one if you want me to read one more.
Go for it.
Please.
Okay, I don't know how many carrot sticks it will take to be happy today, but so far it's more than, wait, did I say carrot sticks? That's a good one.
That's an excellent one. I got to write that down.
Oh, that is so good. Thank you for that one. Oh my goodness. Well,
Who did that one?
that was Chris Wardlow. Wow.
Excellent. Excellent.
Yes.
Can I close it out on this one?
Yeah,
Sure.
please do.
So I think this maybe this is a Halloween reference. Maybe, I don't know, but I like this. So I don't know how many brains it will take to be happy today, but so far it's more than I can find around here. I think it's a zombie joke. It's like a lonely zombie out in the wilderness. There's nobody around, nobody to bite. Like, oh, it's sad zombie.
Oh, well,
I like
I am
that.
loving all of this. So I'm curious, Chris, what you think you might say if we asked you how you could use some of these exercises within the field of prevention and the work that you do. What do you think?
I think some of these activities would be great to do as icebreakers, as people you're trying to get people to know each other, or just, as people are coming in and trying to gather, those kind of things. But also could be a good break. So like if you're having an intense like planning meeting where things have gotten pretty intense, but just to be able to take a breath and like you said, going back to those beginning stats, to be breathing more, getting that laughter, getting the endorphins going through your body, all that I think would be really good.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, totally. Let me ask you a little bit. What if I was to say, well, I hear what you're saying. Those are good ideas. So as icebreakers or as breaks during meetings, integrate this within the community, in professional settings. What would you say if I said, well, that's not professional? Or I don't think that people would respond, or, sort of a naysay, like, I'm not sure I buy into this. Like, how would you respond to me if I said that?
For me, my experience is the more fun you can have in meetings, or, especially committee meetings. I've been on many committees, both within prevention as well as outside of prevention. The groups that have the most fun together produce the most. That's been my experience. Also, people are willing to come back, especially if it's a volunteer committee meeting. If you go and you can have a lot of fun at a meeting while still accomplishing a lot, that's the meeting I'm going to go back to. The ones where you're just sitting and being serious and it's like drudgery to get through. The likelihood, especially as a volunteer, that I'm going to say, oh yeah, I can't wait to get back to that meeting, it's very unlikely.
That's it.
Interesting.
I love that, because what you're talking about is when you're building your coalition and when you're setting up your meetings. What if you have a data meeting? You're just working on the assessment part of SPIF. People don't want to come because they think it'll be boring. But what if your meetings always have some humor?
Mm-hmm.
You're going to get people to arrive and be fully invested because they know even things like looking at the epidemiological report is going to be fun. Oh, yeah.
And I love Mindy just put in the chat. She said that she presents data and she said, I have to use humor before I even begin. Most are dreading it. So humor helps show that the data isn't scary, which is great.
Ooh,
Isn't that great?
that's it.
Yep.
That's it right there. It makes it more approachable. It makes people feel safer about it. So even that psychological safety when it comes to where are we at in the strategic process, where are we at with building capacity, how many risk factors does it take for us to feel satisfied today? I don't know, but more than 17, I don't know, but oh yeah, it's something to think about. I appreciate you bringing that up.
Wonderful. So it seems like icebreakers, breaks, that fun people who have more fun in communities tend to be more productive. I love that concept, that humor could be a nice hook for getting people to come back, to engage, to be excited about the experience. It could be an add-on for sure. And then it sort of reduces some scary or more stressful situations, that it could be a nice balancing. So if we're talking about data, let me do some humor ahead of time to get you kind of leveled out. So you're more open to more kind of challenging conversations or information coming at you.
Yeah. Well,
and oh, go ahead, Mallory.
Well, I was going to say in the chat box, Chris Wardlow brought something up. Was that what you were going to tag on?
Yeah. Yes.
Go for it. Go for it. Yeah.
Well, no, I think it's a great point that we're thinking about as professionals how we're going to use it and our work that way. But also, Chris pointed out, humor is a skill that can be learned to strengthen resilience and can be a protective factor for young people and young adults. I love that.
Right. And if we're looking at the evidence-based protective factor of bonding with one's community for youth, what's a great way to bond but through humor? And humor actually helps release oxytocin. Laughing helps create connection and build trust. So laughing, even while you're delivering a strategy, can be a helpful way to help create those protective factors. We're already in fuego right here, Chris.
Right. Well, and I think it's important also to point out that I'll just say when Lodge and Mallory asked me to help out with this, I'm completely terrified. I was like, oh no, you need somebody else. I'm not a funny person, But I think your point that we want to have fun. It's not to crack jokes, because I will never be the person who can crack jokes. I never remember the punchline. I'll remember like the setup and then I forget the punchline. But I think that
is the punchline.
Yeah, right. The key is to have fun and to create that levity. And so I would just say, for those of you who are like me, that feel like you aren't necessarily a funny or humorous person, I think having fun is the key.
Sure.
Well, and that is a beautiful transition, because what we have just spent our time doing was practicing absurdity, which is focused on teaching our bodies, our minds, and each other to have a little fun. And we're going to integrate those skills into the next activities in a few minutes. We're going to move on, though, to round 2, where the following therapeutic humor exercises help us practice reframing the struggles in our lives, because we know if we're able to quickly find the funny in difficult situations, it can help us to cope.
Yeah, we call these exercises therapeutic because each activity that we're about to do invites us to take a short vacation into the absurd. Outside of reality, reality can be very challenging and painful, but there's another reality over here called absurdity. And we can take a short vacation into the absurd to be playful, to have fun, to reduce stress, to extract more joy out of life. And it can help us access more laughter and release the tension of challenging feelings that are very common in the real world. So humor that helps us manage our stress and emotions is beyond fun. It can still be fun, and hopefully it will be here in the next handful of minutes, but it's also therapeutic.
Chris, we're going to invite you and the audience. We're not leaving you out, friends. We're going to invite you to practice applying therapeutic humor with your own small annoyances or challenges. These exercises could be helpful for anyone to use at any time to reframe any frustration. Let's try this one. The prompt is...
Let me jump in real quick. We want to make sure, in terms of our psychological safety, this is a public forum.
Oh, sure.
Please don't share. You're the best decider of what you're comfortable sharing. There might be some things that you'd be comfortable sharing in this group, and maybe there are not some things you're comfortable sharing. I can certainly think of things for myself. Please only share what you're very comfortable sharing. You can always apply these skills in other places outside of this particular public forum. So just wanted to make a note of that.
It's a great point. Thanks for reminding us of that. This is the first prompt. The prompt is, I am now, and then Chris, you're going to insert a complaint about a physical or mental difficulty that you experience, and then years old.
So Mallory, why don't you go first? We're going to be vulnerable too, just so we continue to model this. So Mallory, go first. I'll share one, and then we'll have Chris share. And while we're doing this, make sure to drop yours in the chat, because we'll go in and read some of those.
Absolutely. So this was one I thought of earlier today. I am now must reset my Amazon password every time I log in, years old.
And I am now can't get off the couch without going, oh, years old.
And I'm now creaky when I wake up, years old. How did that happen?
Yes.
Right.
Well,
so the idea is that we there are constantly things that we have sort of complaints about, things we notice in our lives, and we can either allow those to sort of sit with us and build up stress, or we can figure out ways of sort of finding the humor in it, creating humor, and giving ourselves a little vacation into that absurd to say, reality is painful. Oh, it's creaky when I wake up. But you know what? In this framework, it's actually pretty funny. If I visit the absurd world, I can find some humor in that, and then I can come back to reality and get on with my day. Cool.
Beautiful. So let's go to the chat box and check some of these out. We're already laughing. Lodge, you got one right away?
Yeah. It's from your mom.
She's allowed.
Yeah. It says, I am now not funny, years old.
Never.
I have one. I have now forgot why I jumped up and hurried to the other room, years old.
Oh my gosh. Okay. I am now, was that on a post? I forget, years old.
Oh, here's one. I think I'm going to read this right. I am now have to ask what year it is to know how old I am, years old.
Oh, yeah.
Wait, what year is it again? It's what, 220?
Subtraction. Carry the one. No. Oh, wait, that's adding.
Do you have another one, Chris?
Let's see. I hadn't found one yet. Go ahead.
Okay, I have food at home, years old.
Right. I don't go out anywhere. I have food at home, years old.
Okay. I am now use a pill box, years old.
Mm-hmm. Use a pill box, years old. Here, I got one. This is good. Sandy, well done. I am now can't find the phone in my hand, years old.
Oh, I did that just recently.
Me too. Where is my phone? Do you have it? Yes.
Wonderful. Okay. We ready to move on?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that was a really good one. Everybody's doing such a great job. And Chris, you are doing a great job.
Absolutely. So next time when you feel like complaining about a difficulty, use this exercise and turn it into a joke.
Indeed.
That's the next one.
All right. So Chris, here is one of my favorites. I don't know. Okay. So one of my favorites. So for sale, and then you're going to think of something bothersome. It could be around the house. It could be whatever. Serious inquiries only. So it's sort of like a thing you'd put on Craigslist or on Facebook to sell something, but we want to think of something kind of absurdly bothersome. So might say, For sale, a couch shredded by cats. Serious inquiries only. All right, Mallory, what do you got?
For sale, 6 crusty bowls found in my daughter's bedroom. Serious inquiries only.
All right. You ready for mine?
Yes,
Yeah.
we're ready.
All right. For sale, the ghost of my vengeful mother-in-law. Serious inquiries only.
Oh no.
You know, we talked about dark humor earlier.
Would this cross the line?
No, it's your line to cross. We'll laugh at anything. Wait, see, she said the ghost of my vengeful mother-in-law.
Yes.
I'm going to get you a T-shirt that says that. Okay. Let's jump into the chat. There's lots of good stuff.
I like this one. For sale, 100 matchless socks. Serious inquiries only.
Just a pile.
I like this one. For sale, alarm that goes off at 5 a.m. 7 days a week.
Serious inquiries only.
Oh yeah.
Oh, here's one. For sale, my broke teenager. Serious inquiries only.
Buy one, take mine free.
Oh, I got one. All right, do another one.
Oh my goodness.
So many good ones.
For sale, a box of half-eaten chocolates that are not good. Serious inquiries only.
I like that.
Oh my
All right, Chris, you got
goodness.
another one?
There's so many that are good. I keep looking through.
Yeah.
Go ahead if you have one.
I'll do one just because I'm apparently 8 years old. For sale, used toilet seat. Serious inquiries only.
I saw it. I left it for you.
For sale, the last moldy navel orange in the bag. Serious inquiries only.
Oh my gosh.
Excellent. Okay,
Yes.
I'm going to start crying if we keep going on this. So, okay. Are we ready for the next one?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh goodness. So the next time you sort of feel confronted by something that's bothering you, use this again to turn it into a joke. But let's try this next one. How about not to brag or anything, but I can, and then insert something absurd that bothers me about me better than anyone you have ever met. All right, Lodge, what you got for us? And friends, keep putting that in the chat box. Keep putting your joke in there. Not to brag or anything.
Not to brag or anything, but I can stress about stress when there's nothing to stress about better than anyone you've ever met.
That's good.
That's good. That's good.
That's good. That's good.
Oh, yeah. That's real good.
All right, Mallory, what do you got?
Not to brag or anything, but I can leave crumbs behind anywhere. Better than anyone you have ever met.
Crumbs.
Mm-hmm. That's the eater.
All right, Chris, take us there.
All right, not to brag or anything, but I can micromanage you better than anyone you've ever met.
I am not going to check with your colleagues on this one.
Yeah. Rebecca, feel free to jump in.
No, Chris, you would never.
Nope. Let's go to the chat box. I think we have some great ones in here.
Okay.
Oh my goodness.
Who wants to go first?
Okay, I got one. Not to brag or anything, but I bring donuts to work when everyone is starting the new year diet better than anyone.
That's good.
I love it.
All right, Chris,
like
you got one?
Not to brag or anything, but I can trip over air better than anyone you've ever met. Yeah.
Oh
Oh, I like this one because of the specificity. Not to brag or anything, but I can hit my elbow on that same corner constantly better than anyone you've ever met.
That's good.
Oh my goodness. Yes. I love all of these. Oh, oh my
There's so many,
goodness.
there's so many good
These
ones.
are all
There
so
are. I hope
good.
everybody's reading through the chat because these are
Yes.
just fantastic.
Do you have one more, Chris, you want to do?
Um, I have the, not to brag or anything, but I can not finish today's New York Times crossword better than anyone you've ever met. That would be me.
Yes. Oh, I got this one. Not to
getting
brag or
sweaty.
anything, but I can set off a smoke alarm making pizza rolls better than anyone you've ever met.
Oh, do you mind if I jump back in?
Yes, no,
Go
go ahead.
for it.
Okay, I like this. Not to brag or anything, but I can take screenshots of presentations that I never look at again. Present not one not included. Better than anyone you've ever met. I can't tell you how many times I've done
That
that.
is so right. That is so right. Oh my gosh.
Oh,
So here's,
Oh,
can I do one more?
one more, then let's go to the next one. Yeah.
Yeah. So not to, this is good. Multiple layered. So not to brag or anything, but I can kill an artificial plant better than anyone you've ever met.
oh, nice.
I
Oh my
assume
gosh.
that
Like they
I
see
assume
me.
that I
Yeah.
assume you actually kill plants, but I love the absurd twist of making it into artificial plants. That's very smart comedic writing. Well done.
I resemble that. Yes.
I like Noreen says that sounds like a challenge. Okay,
Yeah,
challenge
challenge
accepted.
accepted. The next time you feel frustrated with yourself, use this exercise to turn it into a joke. Oh,
Mhm.
yep, here we
It
go.
literally works with everything.
Yes.
All right. So here we go. This is a great one. I can't wait to see what y'all come up with. Because now we're really moving. So here we go. Sometimes I just want someone to hold me and say, something you really need to hear right now, because then I'll whisper absurd. So there's two blanks here. So Mallory, what would you say on this one?
Sometimes I just want someone to hold me and say, Mallory, you're perfect. Don't change a thing. Because then I'll whisper, don't tell me what to do.
That's not much of a whisper, but I hear what you're saying. Okay, I'm going to do one. Sometimes I just want someone to hold me and say, everything is going to be okay. Because then I'll whisper, you're cutting off my circulation. Okay. Chris, take us home.
Okay, I was gonna do, I have a similar thing. Sometimes I just want someone to hold me and say, everything will be okay. Because then I'll whisper, the cat threw up again.
Well, wow,
That felt very close to home for Lodge.
That is my life.
Chris, do you need any couches?
No, not from you.
Serious inquiries only.
All right, let's jump into the chat. Chris, why don't you kick us off here?
Oh, sorry, I haven't been looking. I don't know if one of you found one yet.
Oh,
Okay, let's
Mallory,
see.
do you got one?
Let's see. Sometimes I just want someone to hold me and say, don't stress about what you cannot change. Because then I'll whisper, that's not what Dr. Strange told me.
That's good.
Here we go. Sometimes I just want someone to hold me and say, you can have all the cookies. Because then I'll whisper, I already did.
Okay, I've got one. Sometimes I just want someone to hold me and say, there's toilet paper coming out of the back of your pants. Because then I'll whisper, I know, it's for later.
Oh, gosh.
Oh my goodness. Oh,
Oh, let me,
you got one?
can I do one more?
One more. Wow.
Let's see. Sometimes I just want man,
I know. You know how the blood gets pumping when you're laughing. Yes.
yeah, whoosh. Sometimes I just want someone to hold me and say, I love you. Because then I'll whisper, I know. It's from Star Wars.
Oh,
How about this one? Sometimes I just want someone to hold me and say, stop eating all the candy off the office bowl. Because then I'll whisper, get better candy.
You said get better candy?
Yes.
oh,
Oh my
Oh.
gosh.
Love
Oh,
Chris, you got one more?
I thought we were moving on, so I stopped.
Oh,
yeah,
we'll move
sorry.
on.
These are so good.
Yeah.
All right.
These are so good. I could literally do this all day. I'm like Captain America. All
Oh.
right, sorry. Meh.
Well, the next time
Okay.
you don't feel completely seen or heard, you can use this exercise to turn it into a joke. Our last therapeutic humor exercise is a bit more challenging. Sometimes when stuff happens and it's hard to access that positive perspective, we can get caught in a downward emotional spiral. Positive humor can actually help us cope with challenges and negativity by reframing our perspective. One way to do this is to collaborate to come up with a comedic silver lining for any issue.
And here's how. And we've spent the past almost hour building the skills that we need to do this very challenging activity. And we're going to see what happens here. So Chris, we are going to ask you to write down or share a one-line complaint. Then we are all going to ponder a comedic silver lining, which is an absurd sign of hope or an absurdly positive aspect in your otherwise challenging or negative situation.
All right. Chris and audience, here are a few examples to get your absurd juices flowing.
Okay, let's take a look at something.
I had COVID and it was really difficult. At least I don't have to wash my hands anymore.
So having COVID it builds a lot of tension. And if we can take a little vacation into the absurd, sometimes that can alleviate some of that tension. And when we're talking about it from a specific sort of comedy or humor writing standpoint, humor is made up of two parts. It's made up of a setup, which is also called the premise, and a punchline, which is the twist. The premise is not funny, but sets up an expectation. The twist is an absurd, surprising conclusion that breaks the expectation created in the setup. And we tend to laugh, as we've experienced a lot so far in the past hour. When we break that expectation, we tend to laugh because it surprises us. It's sort of a left turn. Oh, that's funny. Especially if it's absurd, then it's very funny.
Mm-hmm.
In this delightful, I don't know if it's delightful, in this kind of creepy and weird meme, let's say it that way, the setup is I had COVID and it was really difficult. That creates a lot of tension. Even saying that creates tension. And the punchline is, at least I don't have to wash my hands anymore. So that releases some of the tension. And that's therapeutic humor.
Let's try this one. Someone stole my bike. I was looking for a reason to stop exercising anyway.
Yeah, so somebody stealing your bike can create a lot of tension. It does for me. I don't like that. But if I can find a comedic silver lining, I can sort of laugh it off a little bit. I really don't have much control over getting COVID. I don't have much control over someone stealing my bike, but I do have control over what I choose to do when these stressors happen. And taking a little vacation into the absurd and laughing a little bit and diffusing a little bit of that tension, it doesn't make it go away. It just makes life a little bit easier, and sometimes 3% easier is the world of difference. It can help us get back to that reality where we can continue to move forward. And then, okay, let's take a look at one more. Here is one that was actually created by one of our participants from last month, and this was one of my favorite ones. This is pretty vulnerable, and it's lovely. So, I don't like that I need a CPAP to sleep. And it's that mask thing for the breathing. But at least it helps me breathe easily when I'm hiding under the blankets from monsters.
I love that one.
I love that one. That gave me a good laugh. I feel like I'm a little bit laughed out at this point.
Oh my
but,
gosh,
I'm doing my
never.
best.
Well, let's see.
I'll bring it back.
Chris, what is a one-line complaint that you would like to work on? Let's start with that.
The seats on airplanes are so small.
I like this complaint. What might be a comedic silver lining? Audience, new words today, audience. While Chris is thinking it through, go ahead and put in the chat box your comedic silver lining based on her complaint and drop your punchline into the chat. So the complaint frustration is the seats on airlines are so small.
What, airlines or airplanes?
Airplanes, my
Airplanes,
bad. The seats on airplanes are so small. What is your punchline, Chris?
Remember, this is the one I couldn't come up with. This was too hard for me. So this
Well,
is the one
perfect.
yeah, I love
This is-
that other people are going to be able to add in.
So why don't we go to the
tell
chat
us your
box?
let's not do that yet. So Chris, tell us about your experience a little bit. Like so you saw this exercise, just kind of walk us through what you did, what you took a look at, and kind of where you might have had a stumbling point.
Yeah, so for me, it wasn't that I didn't give it the time to think of it. I just couldn't come up with a funny twist to it. It's like I could come up with a true silver lining, but then I would try to flip it, and I was like, well, that just doesn't seem funny. And so for some reason, I couldn't get my brain to do that switch, I guess, to this absurd. I guess I just had a problem doing that. So I'm not sure why.
Well, there's a few reasons. One of them, probably the main one in this sort of therapeutic work, is that many times when we're confronted, and I'm not sure how much of a stressor the airplane seats are for you, but sometimes when we are dealing with a present, immediate stressor, something that we don't have a lot of distance from, something that hurts, it is very difficult to engage in comedy or in humor or in therapeutic humor. It's just we don't have the space in order to have some distance to look at it and say, you know what, I am going to try to find something funny about this. It's just too painful right now. It needs a little bit more distance and space. And so I'm going to assume that's maybe part of this. And it's a great opportunity though, when we notice that in ourselves, like I'm having a hard time coming up with a punchline. That's why it's so wonderful to have an amazing community where I can say, hey, community of people that I love and respect, we're all sort of trained to do this. I'm a little too close to this issue right now, but I could sure use a little laughter around this issue. I can invite people to participate in diffusing some of the tension for me. So let's go ahead and do that in the chat. We're looking for the best punchline, according to Chris, that will help diffuse tension.
There's some great ones. I mean, they're just
Okay.
perfect.
Yeah.
So the seats on airplanes are so small, but it helps me sit straight, very straight. And the one right below it too, the seats on airplanes are so small, but at least the barf bag is within easy reach.
It's just right there.
Yeah. That's right. You don't even need to lean forward. Yeah, you just put your hand out and it's there.
Oh, see, I love that because you're already sort of noticing that, that's true. And yet just enough absurd. And you're smiling and laughing. Are there any more that tickle your fancy here?
I like this one. The seats on airplanes are so small. At least it helps me with my need for human contact. Literally physical human contact.
Yeah,
Uh,
there was one in here earlier that said something about like, at least I get to snuggle, the seats on airplanes are so small, but at least I get to snuggle with the person next to me. That's the same thing. Oh, I love that. So we use this silver lining together because it helps all of us create a shared joke experience. And there becomes this really great bond creating this joke together. It alleviates Chris, and you created this connection that is new based on this situation. And I'm curious, Chris, if you have any thoughts about the therapeutic exercises that we've done that have been based on addressing small annoyances or bothers or concerns. How might this fit into the preventionist job
Yeah.
or the role?
Let me, sorry to interrupt
Go
again.
ahead.
Let's get back to that question in just a moment. Chris, which one was your favorite punchline?
Oh, I forgot to ask.
Oh, okay. To add it in.
Yeah.
I think it's the but it helps me sit straight, very straight.
Yeah.
But there's many wonderful ones.
There are so many
Yes.
good ones
Yeah.
on there. Oh, yeah. So here's the joke all the way together. And I'm just going to do a little humor magic while we chat for just a moment. So returning to that question of, we've just done some therapeutic exercises, Chris, more focused on managing stressors, frustrations, irritations, and we've addressed them. I'm curious, how might this be helpful in coalition work, prevention work, the work that you do as a presenter or preventionist?
I think it can help in so many situations. I mean, just personally, like you were talking about, as I'm sitting here frustrated about something of, be it my computer's not working right or whatever it might be, to help me reframe and just kind of, okay, not be spiraling out of control over this. We really can, it would just help with a reframe. And then I think as a group too, if we're able to do it, in meetings or, it'd be committee meetings or staff meetings, whatever it might be, if there's something that again is proving to be a frustration. I know I was on a committee with somebody who was really good at that, of just kind of throwing in something, just a couple of words, but it was that absurdity, and it would just release all the tension. It'd just be like, okay. So
Yeah.
I think they're fantastic exercises to keep in our back pocket as those situations arise.
Well, and I think that you're right, because there's individual frustrations that we can apply this on. And there's also shared things that commonly are complaints that we hear from coalition members, colleagues, members of the community. I was just thinking about how many of us in prevention can't get the data release from the school district, from their youth survey, or can't get the most recent data. And I think, okay, I can't get the data release from the school, but I can get all the yearbook pictures from 1983,
Right.
This is absurd and ridiculous. And it may only be funny in the moment. It may not be a joke that I would tell people walking down the street, but in that moment, it's a shared inside joke that we can have to release the tension.
Yeah, and this is a little different, but I'm wondering if it's working a bit on the same. I don't know if neural pathways or whatever, but I know with brainstorming,
Yes.
that going to the absurdity with brainstorming can be really helpful, because it takes us out of our linear thinking and it gets much more creative.
Yes.
So I know, again, brainstorming sessions, I know there was one study that showed it's not until you're like number 66 idea that juices actually start flowing. So when I've done it, it's just like throw out anything. And so they get silly, absurd, but then all of a sudden it's like, oh, wait, but if we did this, so
you're right. Creative
really
problem solving and humor are related, because the first third of your ideas are going to be what everyone thinks of. The second third are a little bit of a stretch, and the third are the absurd. and you really get the creative juices flowing. That also can happen from playing, laughter, levity, and you lose the judgment off your shoulders by laughing, and you get the creative juices flowing. And it looks like Lodge has worked his meme magic.
I love it.
So I think, Chris, this is your turn to unveil the whole joke. Do you want to say it for us?
All right. The seats on airplanes are so small, but it helps me sit straight, very straight. And I have to say, this picture is making me feel a little bit better about the amount of space we get on airplanes.
Well, and
Yeah,
we
so
love,
I did a little
ahead.
searching. There are lots of other options for images of people being like really sandwiched in, but I think I might have, if I had another 5 minutes, I would have chosen a different image, but this one gets the point across.
And people have said to us that after making memes like this, Chris, that they can take that frustration, put it on a meme with their silver lining. Sometimes they print it off, put it on their computer, put it on the bulletin board, or just put it as a background on their computer. And it can help remind them to lighten up. And it's okay. That is a frustration, and I can access the absurdity right away, because otherwise, if we complain, we tend to exaggerate and relive the frustration out loud, which floods our brain and our body with cortisol, which is the stress hormone. Oof.
Right. And if we can just wrap our frustrations in humor, intentionally, like we have been practicing doing very intentionally, we no longer complain. We swap that out for telling jokes. Jokes can spark laughter in ourselves and others. And when we laugh, that actually instantly reduces stress. It's pretty powerful.
Mm-hmm. In fact, when we write down our feelings, we tend to understand them even more. And if we struggle with stress, depression, or anxiety, creating a journal of those narratives, especially if we're wrapping them in humor, can be beneficial. It can help us gain control over our emotions and our mental health. And of course, we can even do this as a community. I think are you there?
Yeah, I'm sorry. My
turn.
phone took away the audio.
Oh.
And I had to get that back. I'm sorry, where were we?
So Lodge and I have designed some therapeutic humor interventions. Do you want to talk about this?
Oh, yeah. And we would like to see how they work, or this intervention works, with a diverse group of participants. So we are offering free coaching sessions during the month of October for those in this workshop.
November.
What did I say?
October. We
Okay.
already offered them. No, just kidding.
Yeah, it's in October. Oh, you missed it. I'm sorry.
You missed it. Too bad. Too bad. So
Well,
sad.
I'm going to tell you anyway. Apparently, I'm thrown off. So I apologize for the last 47 seconds. Yes, in November. So for those of you who are in the workshop, to kind of keep this conversation going, keep the practice and the work going, for those of you who are interested, throughout November, you can work with me, which I didn't put a good showing in the past little while. So you probably want to work with Mallori. So Mallori is the other coach. You can work with her instead. Yeah.
Yeah. During these Reframe It coaching sessions, people are invited to transform their hardships into humor by completing a series of custom exercises. We believe that this work can help anyone access more laughter, release the tension of the difficult situations, and extract more joy from life.
So we're going to play a short video. It's just 90 seconds long, about our coaching. If you're interested in trying a free session and helping us learn more about this intervention, please sign up using the link we dropped in the chat. Mallori, will you drop that link in the chat?
Yep.
Wonderful. I'm going to click play on this.
We ask each client to do a little journaling to prepare for a Reframe It coaching session. We ask them to identify a specific issue that they're currently struggling with and write about it for a few minutes. Then they send that narrative to their coach. Upon receiving the narrative, the coach transforms it into a humor exercise. Next, the coach schedules a live session with the client. At the beginning of every session, the coach invites the client to complete a few simple warm-up humor exercises. This helps the client begin to think about reframing their issue by looking at it through different and funny lenses. Then the coach invites the client to add some humor to the narrative that they submitted. This allows the client to further reframe their issue, which can provide some much-needed distance from the discomfort of a frustration or stressor. The process also creates a number of opportunities for the coach and client to laugh together. And laughter is no joke. When we laugh, muscles become more relaxed, breathing changes, and the brain releases the body's natural feel-good chemicals. Clients leave each session with a joke they wrote about their issue, effectively transforming their hardship into humor. And our coaching is valuable because we know from research that using humor to reframe difficult situations can reduce stress and burnout and create lasting, positive feelings. Want to experience it for yourself? Sign up for a Reframe It coaching session today.
Now you, all of you, may be asking, can I get Mallori and Lodge to come work with me, my team, my group, or community? Absolutely, you can. If you are interested, you can visit our website. Mine is MalloriDesalle.com or lodgemccammon.com, and you can send us a message. We would love to work with you. Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah. So Chris,
That's my
Rebecca, yeah, that's good. And the rest of the team, thank you so much for having us. Chris, excellent work. I mean, Chris, you put some love in the chat for Chris. I think Chris knocked it out of the park. Chris was reluctant, of course. I mean, it's a scary thing to be confronted with. She just crushed it. I just want to really throw a bunch of celebration in the chat. She did a fantastic job. Okay. So everyone in the audience, thank you as well for being here and laughing along with us and providing so much laughter for us. You just crushed the jokes. We laughed so much. I hope you laughed a bit too. And we would be happy to answer any questions you may have at this point. So we'll turn it back over to Chris and Rebecca to close it out and answer any questions. Thank you.
All right. Yes, I do have a few ending slides. I want to make sure folks have information about some upcoming trainings that we're offering. And while I'm doing that, please feel free to put your questions in the Q&A. If you do have a question for Lodge or Mallori, I'll go ahead and share my screen. Some upcoming events that we have, trainings. We do have a series on data that are coming up. Registration will be available hopefully by the end of this week. We're currently working on creating those web pages and the Zoom registration and everything. So this came out of the needs assessment that we did with many of you completed. That there were quite a few folks who said they need help with local data collection. So these are going to be focused on local data collection, overcoming data collection challenges in rural communities, as well as with schools and parents. So be sure to look for those as the announcement for when registration opens for those. We also have tips and tricks for creating compelling slides and handouts that will happen on December 15th. Both the data series and the tips and tricks will not be recorded. So be sure to save those dates and times on your calendars to be present during the time. And looking ahead a little bit, but January 10th, we have a great training coming up called Nothing About Us Without Us, Best Practices for Community-Led Prevention. And this is going to spotlight a community coalition that worked with the faith community to really build the trust and buy-in with the local community. It's a great workshop. All right, hopefully you all are on our Facebook page and you've liked and followed it. This is where you will get the most current information. So as things pop up and are really timely, this is where we put it. If you like and follow it, if you're a Facebook user, by doing that, it will show up in your news feed. And please complete the post-training feedback form. It's just a few questions after the demographic information. It's very helpful for us to know what went well with the training and how useful it was for you. And also, this is the information we need to provide to our funders in order to keep providing these free trainings for you all. So if you can take the time to do that, we would greatly appreciate it. All right, and did we get any questions in? I don't believe we have any in the Q&A pod.
No, we don't have any there. There was a question, of course, about the PowerPoint slides. And Mallori Lodge do you want to share what you had hoped to share with the rest of us?
Yeah, I think that we will offer the exercises, so that way those are meaningful to folks. So we can offer that to folks. And what else do you want to add to that, Lodge?
Oh yeah,
Tanya.
for sure. I think I assume the exercises that we shared today, we will make sure those are available with the recording. Is that the appropriate place to share those? So we'll make we'll make sure the resources are available on the website along with the recording.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Well, we have 4 extra minutes in our day, and if there aren't any other questions, I want to give folks a little time to breathe and say thank you for being here. A reminder that you will be redirected to a evaluation survey and those certificates of attendance for those who are here for the whole